In its quest to provide an open forum for discussion of controversial issues, this station allows hosts and their guests to express themselves without any significant censorship. You are advised that any view expressed by the host or their guest are not necessarily the views of the owners or management of TogiNet Radio, Togi Entertainment, or the Owners Group, Inc.
It's time for Motherhood Talk Radio, the most powerful voice in women's issues today, with Sandra Beck and Christy Holly. Ladies, Motherhood Talk Radio is here to give you a powerful platform by giving you interesting, inspiring, and influential information as you navigate everything from childcare to corporate formation. Motherhood Talk Radio has interviews with best-selling authors, gurus of happiness, and women of interest who every single day make our world a better place for our families. Motherhood Talk Radio, powered by Motherhood Incorporated, is on the air now. Moms, this really is your show. Motherhood Talk Radio. And now, here are your hosts, Sandra Beck and Christy Holly.
Hey, mamas. This is Sandra Beck, and I'm here with Christy Holly and Rick Swanson. Hi, guys.
Hey.
How are you? I'm so happy you guys are here today. I put a Facebook post up about the two of you last week. Did you see it?
I did. I responded to it. Did you get my response?
I did not. I was hoping you wouldn't say that.
Wait,
I didn't see this.
Wait a minute. You're like Joe Facebook.
Joe Facebook. Not really. No, what? I saw the thing when I had the Cupid with the arrow. That's the one thing I remember.
Oh, yeah. No, that was for Valentine's Day.
Oh.
This was like for, I think I put it up Thursday of last week, and it basically said that I love you guys both, and I wouldn't have been able to get through the shows this week without you and Robin and you. The two yous.
Aww.
The two yous, because, you know, I was sick, I wasn't feeling well, things were going haywire, guests just went bonkers. What? And, you know, to be able to do this with you guys and with Robin and then Carrie, the producer down in Texas, just makes it all worthwhile.
Oh,
That I put up on Facebook.
well, good. Thank you.
You're welcome. And thank you, Rick, for not reading it and not commenting.
You make me sound bad. I didn't even see it, to be honest.
Okay, well, next time I'll be like, hey, Rick. Wait, so I can put up, so Valentine's Day I can send you a Cupid with an arrow stuck in its back, face down in its own vomit.
A dead Cupid.
A dead Cupid. And you see that.
Hey, if it bleeds, it leads. Remember that from journalism school.
If it bleeds, it leads.
Yeah.
Wait a minute. I went to
Good call.
journalism school. How did you know that?
I went to school, too, ish.
Well, I know you went to school, but you went to school to learn how to shoot things or something. I don't know what you studied in school.
Yeah, well, I don't know. I've just always heard that.
Oh.
It's like in the onset of yellow journalism. It's like when it's not necessarily the mundane facts and truths that really people want to hear about. It's the nasty, the nitty-gritty, the weird. That's what's going to sell.
That's right. You are
Yes.
correct about that.
That's true.
Thank
It's
you.
actually, that's actually one of the reasons that I left investigative journalism was because, if it bleeds, it leads. That's a good one. Another one that I learned in journalism school that I still ascribe to today is that if your mother says she loves you, check it out. Meaning you've got to check your facts. Even if your mother says you love you, you better check it out.
That is a good one. Huh.
Yeah, because I try not to shoot my mouth off, stuff I don't know anything about, except for going on the radio show and talking about our topics today. We have, I've got some good questions for you guys.
Okay.
Well, you know how we've been kind of working our way through Alexandra Fox's book, theunforgettablewoman.net, which is available for download purchase. We have not received any endorsements for working through her book. I just think it's really good. I know. Start sending that stuff on. Free stuff. That's second only to dead air. Okay, so in her book, we're up to page 56 in our tutorial about what makes the women unforgettable. She digresses at this point, and she talks about the qualities that your true prince, or in your case, Rick, princess, the qualities that your true prince or princess must have. So, Christy, I'm curious.
Ew.
What do you think? What would be a couple of qualities that you think your prince must have?
Well, my prince, internal qualities.
Well, it could be internal or external,
okay,
depending on how shallow you're feeling today.
Okay, well.
Mistake. Should not have asked that.
Shut your mouth. I think that My true prince needs to have family values. I think they need to be truthful, honest. I think they need to be emotionally equipped to handle me.
And that's a handful.
Yeah. Two handfuls.
Two handfuls.
Smart.
Yeah, I think those are all really good qualities.
They have to be funny.
They have to be perfect.
Yeah, tall, dark, handsome, rich, successful.
Nobody wants to be
Hello,
perfect
you have to have a horse. No.
What? A horse. A horse. A horse is a horse, of course.
No.
All right, let's see. Let's go over to Richard Swanson and see what Senator Swanson has to say today. Rick, what are some of the qualities that your true princess must have?
A true princess. I don't think about it that much. Well, if she had a castle, I was just thinking that would steal the deal for me. It's like she's like, well, I'm a princess. I'm like, oh yeah, really? She's like, oh yeah, come check out my castle. And I'm like, okay, cool. See, that was
want to swim in the moat.
Who, you or me?
Well, you probably want to charge across the bridge, the drawbridge to the moat with some big, stabbing thing.
Like a sword?
Yeah, like a sword.
Like a sword? Stabbing
What are
device.
those big ones?
A javelin.
Yeah.
Javelin, spear. Yeah. Yeah, that would be, just storm the castle.
That's true.
Yeah.
And I could pour boiling oil over you from the top, but that's a whole other show.
Oh, you're in the castle?
No.
Oh, I'm just asking.
She just, random person, look at that stupid prince, pour oil on him.
Look at that prince run across with that big pointy thing. I'm just going to pour boiling oil on him, see what happens.
Thanks.
Sorry.
Appreciate that. Yeah, epic fail.
Epic fail.
Well, I know. I kind of go along. I agree with what Christy said. We have all these things that we think we want. We want her to be hot. We want her to be funny, or we want her to be fun, not break easy. That's one of my bigger ones. Don't be really
for big
fragile.
Girls. Go ahead.
That's right.
What?
I just put a little cheer up for big girls because big girls don't break easy.
Big boned girl.
Big boned girls.
People
Strong,
with big bones.
healthy,
Yeah, that
rich
works for
women.
me. The real tiny, petite ballerina, the crack in half if you hug them too hard. That just, not for me.
Okay, so no bony princesses.
No.
No princesses that have osteoporosis, please.
Hunchback princess, no.
Hunchback princess.
I love your home. What do you say to that?
Have a calcium pill? I don't know.
No.
Or what is it, a Breva?
Calcium chew?
Calcium chew? Calcium chew? All right, so you guys interested in seeing what Alexandra Fox has to say?
What's your idea?
Yeah,
Let's hear what you have to say.
Well, it's not fair because I already know the
that's
answers.
true.
Because I would just sit here and go, I'm so well-versed in this.
Okay, well, is there anything on there that you disagree with?
Not that I disagree with, but I think she only chose 3, and I thought these 3 were good but limiting. The first one she said was generosity. She's like, I don't want to be with a man who's not generous. And she didn't mean just generous in the wallet, but she said generous with his time and his affection.
Okay.
Because she said if a person isn't generous in their spirit, you're going to hear, I'm too busy with work, I can't spend time with you. And she has a really great thing that she says about generosity. She says, each of us has limited resources. And because of this, we can only share what we have with a limited number of people. A generous man is one who has selected you to be one of the few people he will share his time, money, and affection. So I thought that was pretty good.
Not those 800 Facebook people.
No, those Facebook people, the 800 Facebook people, do not get that. She said integrity. Integrity is hugely important. And I think honesty goes along with integrity. And she said the other thing that she put down was being supportive, that a supportive man is one who respects and admires the fact that you have goals and aspirations for yourself, and he won't limit your personal growth. Because she said, in relationships with people, we have to be supportive of our growth and changes over time, otherwise we won't make it in the long run.
That makes sense to me.
Yeah. But it was interesting that she didn't put anything in there, like when we think of traditional prince, we think of the prince with, lots of money, the big castle. None of that was in there. And for the princesses, there was really nothing in there about looks. Rick?
Wait, you're talking for the prince or the princess?
Both.
Yeah, I don't know. That is kind of an odd list to me. Every time I've heard people say something, usually, funny is usually always in there. I always hear girls say that. But looks is usually in there for both guys and girls at some point. I think you need to have, don't you think, that initial attraction for the person?
Oh, yeah.
Like, I'm so attracted and turned on by your integrity. I mean, as nice as that sounds, there's like people like, I'm going to call them
yeah, that
sexy.
Sexy.
Yeah, your generosity.
Trish, getting it on the radio.
I know.
Whoa.
Oh.
No, but you know what I'm saying? Like, I don't know. I think those are three good things that should be part of it, but I don't think those are standalone going to work.
I mean, I think if you don't have, well, I don't know, maybe it's, maybe because we're not, like 80 years old, but, at what point do looks not matter anymore?
Christy. She's like, no, they always matter.
You know what? I met my husband on a blind date, and I talked to him for a long time before I actually met him.
And how do you talk to someone before you meet someone?
I mean, before I saw him in person.
Oh, you're talking on the phone.
Talking on the phone.
I was like,
talking
blind?
to
What? I'm so confused.
I know. I was blind. My eyes. No, I mean, I talked to him for hours and hours and hours before I actually met him in person, and I really, really liked him. And I thought, like, wow, I don't even care what this person looked like because I really, really loved the way that he was.
Yeah, but Greg is cute. I mean, let's be real.
I know,
here.
but
when he showed up, you had to be like, wow, he's really cute.
I mean, I was, but I'm just saying, like, I felt like even before I met him or saw him, I thought, like, I really was attracted to this person.
Right, the person inside. But
yeah.
like, had he shown up and been like 1,500 pounds, wheeling his own fat in the back,
well, maybe.
I mean, it would be different.
Yeah, I mean, I'm probably, but I don't know for sure because that didn't actually happen.
All right, well, I need to go to break now, so we're going to close out Shallow Talk Radio for the day. But we are going to welcome two outstanding people today. We're going to welcome Suzanne Audion. She's going to talk to us about hair, which is really good because of my shallow comment about the man wheeling the fat in the basket. We're also going to talk to Rosalene Glickman. She's a Ph.D. and bestseller author of Optimal Thinking. She's also the president of the World Academy of Personal Development, so she is going to bust us right out of our shallowness and help us all become better people. And for those of you that have just tuned into the show, check us out on iTunes. You can hear us at Motherhood Talk Radio along with TogiNet.com, and we will be back after the break.
Mom, here's your show, Motherhood Talk Radio, giving you interesting, inspiring, and influential information as you navigate everything from childcare to corporate formation. This is Motherhood Talk Radio, and we'll be right back after these.
Hello everybody, this is Pete Dix, asking if you'll join me on Beatles and Beyond on this radio station. What a show I've got in store for you. Not only all the Apple reissues that I'll be looking at, some very rare tracks indeed, a report on my evening watching and listening to Neil Innes of the Ruttles and the Bonzo Dog Doodah Band. So please join me, Pete Dix, with Beatles and Beyond on this radio station.
In its quest to provide an open forum for discussion of controversial issues, this station allows hosts and their guests to express themselves without any significant censorship. You are advised that any view expressed by the host or their guest are not necessarily the views of the owners or management of TogiNet Radio, Togi Entertainment, or the Owners Group, Inc.
It's time for Motherhood Talk Radio, the most powerful voice in women's issues today, with Sandra Beck and Christy Holly. Ladies, Motherhood Talk Radio is here to give you a powerful platform by giving you interesting, inspiring, and influential information as you navigate everything from childcare to corporate formation. Motherhood Talk Radio has interviews with best-selling authors, gurus of happiness, and women of interest who every single day make our world a better place for our families. Motherhood Talk Radio, powered by Motherhood Incorporated, is on the air now. Moms, this really is your show. Motherhood Talk Radio. And now, here are your hosts, Sandra Beck and Christy Holly.
Hey, mamas. is. This is Sandra Beck, and I'm here with Christy Holly and Rick Swanson. Hi, guys.
Hey, how are you?
I'm so happy you guys are here today. I put a Facebook post up about the two of you last week. Did you see it?
I did. I responded to it. Did you get my response?
I did not. I was hoping you wouldn't say that.
Wait, I didn't see this.
Wait a minute. You're like Joe Facebook.
Joe Facebook. Not really. No, I saw the thing when I had the Cupid with the arrow. That's the one thing I remember.
Oh, yeah. No, that was for Valentine's Day.
Oh.
This was like for, I think I put it up Thursday of last week, and it basically said that I love you guys both, and I wouldn't have been able to get through the shows this week without you and Robin and you. The two yous.
Aww.
The two yous, because, I was sick. I wasn't feeling well. Things were going haywire. Guests just went bonkers. What? And, to be able to do this with you guys and with Robin and then Carrie, the producer down in Texas, just makes it all worthwhile.
Oh,
and I put it up on Facebook.
Well, good. Thank you.
You're welcome. And thank you, Rick, for not reading it and not commenting.
You make me sound bad. I didn't even see it, to be honest.
Okay, well, next time I'll be like, hey, Rick. Wait, so I can so Valentine's Day I can send you a Cupid with an arrow stuck in its back, face down in its own vomit.
A dead Cupid.
A dead Cupid. And you see that.
Hey, if it bleeds, it leads. Remember that from journalism school.
If it bleeds, it leads.
Yeah,
wait a minute. I went to journalism school. How did you know that?
I went to school too, ish.
Well, I know you went to school, but you went to school to learn how to shoot things or something. I don't know what you studied in school.
Yeah, well, I don't know. I've just always heard that.
Oh.
It's like the onset of yellow journalism. It's like when it's not necessarily the mundane facts and truths that really people want to hear about. It's the nasty, the nitty-gritty, the weird. That's what's going to sell.
That's right. You are correct about that.
That's true. That's actually one of the reasons that I left investigative journalism was because, if it bleeds, it leads. That's a good one. Another one that I learned in journalism school that I still ascribe to today is that if your mother says she loves you, check it out. Meaning you've got to check your facts. Even if your mother says you love you, you better check it out.
That is a good one. Huh.
Yeah, because I try not to shoot my mouth off, stuff I don't know anything about, except for going on the radio show and talking about our topics today. We have, I've got some good questions for you guys.
Okay.
Well, you know how we've been kind of working our way through Alexandra Fox's book, theunforgettablewoman.net, which is available for download purchase. We have not received any endorsements for working through her book. I just think it's really good. I know. Start sending that stuff on. Free stuff. That's second only to dead air. Okay, so in her book, we're up to page 56. In our tutorial about what makes the women unforgettable, she digresses at this point, and she talks about the qualities that your true prince, or in your case, Rick, princess, the qualities that your true prince or princess must have. So, Christy, I'm curious. What do you think? What would be a couple of qualities that you think your prince must have?
Well, my prince...
You can't see me. There's just so many little tidbits of information. Some of the smallest little things that I tell clients or in my workshops, they are amazed by even just how to hold the blow dryer. A lot of people hold the blow dryer with the nozzle facing up. It should be always facing down the cuticle, because when you face it up, it blows the cuticle out of proportion, and then you get frizzy hair.
Oh, no frizzy hair. And I have a lot of hair. Suzette. I mean, there's tons of it. And it's thin and skinny and, long. And, boy, I'm going to do that from now on. Because, I'm definitely. But you know what? When you do blow dry from the top down, you really don't get to do that, look in the mirror where your hair is flinging all over. But you know what? That's a small price to pay for having smooth cuticles.
Do that at home at night before you go to sleep.
Oh, that's right. The big long helmet. So let me ask you, is it true that hair is bigger in Texas? Like from your experience of being in New York and then coming down to Texas, or is that just something that's overrated?
I think it was in the past, back in the days of the TV show Dallas, but no, not anymore. In fact, I have family still in New York and family in Los Angeles, so those are like one of the two biggest cities in the world, and There is bigger hair in New York than there is out here.
Wow. See, that's why you tune in to Motherhood Talk Radio for such deep insight. But you know what? I noticed that because when I was, Rick and I were in Dallas over Christmas time, and I was looking around for the big hair, waiting for the big hair, and there wasn't the big hair. And I thought, you know what? I see bigger hair in L.A., and then when I do go home to New York, I see bigger hair there. So I was a little disappointed that Dallas didn't deliver on the big hair.
In fact, I would say that New York and Los Angeles, and I'm talking about the overall, not just your niche markets like Manhattan and then Beverly Hills, they are behind the times in hair. Dallas is way up on the times when it comes to hair. To everybody in this city, it's very important. Hair is very important.
So tell us what is currently in with hair right now.
Well, the biggest thing right now is the keratin treatments. That has blown the lid off of the hair industry, and that is basically a new treatment. It's actually a service. It's not like you go in and it's just a 10-minute, one-day process. It's something that lasts several months, and what they're doing is somebody out there created this protein, liquid protein that you actually infuse back into the hair, and you lose your frizz, you lose some of your curl, your hair dries faster, and you have super ultra shiny hair. And that has just been crazy out here.
So then how do we get that in, since we're not in Dallas, like we're in Los Angeles, would we call around to salons going, do you have a keratin treatment?
Yes. It's either called a keratin treatment or a Brazilian treatment.
So it's not the Brazilian blowout thing, is it?
No, the Brazilian blowout, there was so much controversy over that because of the formaldehyde, and I know they took it off the market, and I believe they either brought it back or they're bringing it back with it formaldehyde free because it was causing way too much eye irritation and throat irritation because when you infuse the product into the hair, you have to use a flat iron. And the flat irons get so hot that it was actually causing a toxic smoke in the air, and everybody was breathing it in. And that's the reason why they took it off the market.
Oh, yeah. I mean, formaldehyde is used to, embalm frogs. That's the only thing I remember is formaldehyde was used for, fetal pigs and cats and things we dissected. Gross. Yeah. But so this keratin treatment, does it have to be heat-infused as well?
Yes. Yes, because there's no catalyst to the product, or at least the one that I use. It comes in a little teeny bottle. You pour it into a bowl, you apply it on the hair, and then you have to infuse it. You have to bond it somehow to the hair, and that's done only with the flat iron.
Oh. So is this something, and for people that are listening, this radio show goes all over the world, but for people who can't get to a salon, is this something that they could order on the Internet and then flat iron their own hair or have their friend do it?
They do have products out there that you can do yourself. In fact, it was tested, I believe, on, I don't know if it was 2020 or one of those magazine programs, and they tested it in Manhattan, and they had a couple of the girls do it, and it did not work. However, I'm not saying that there isn't a product out there that doesn't work. As long as you follow the directions and you iron with teeny tiny sections, I can't imagine that what they have over the counter wouldn't work at least for a couple of weeks, maybe not a couple of months like the professional line, but I think it would work.
So what would be your best advice today? This is the first time we've had you on our show, and, you've already been, really super helpful with information. What would be, your top 3 best hair tips that you could give, of course, me and Christy, because we like to bring people on in topics we care about. Hair is very important. But what best advice or what best 3 tips would you share with our listeners today?
Well, one of the biggest questions that I get asked day in and day out is, how do I make my hair grow fuller, grow thicker? Uh-huh. And I have the same answer, and I've had the same answer for 25-plus years. Omega-3 fish oil. And I know I sound like Dr. Oz because I watch Dr. Oz all the time, and he talks about fish oil constantly, but not when it comes to hair. But fish oil, believe it or not, is at least a minimum of 4,000 milligrams a day, and you can take that, you can split that up throughout the day. But if you take 4,000 milligrams of fish oil per day, your hair will grow like crazy, like a weed. And that means the hair on your legs, the hair under your arms, and the hair on your head.
I'm going to try that.
Yeah, me too. Will it make my hair thicker? Because I'm a natural blonde, and I have a lot of hair follicles per square inch, and my hair is baby fine, and there's tons of it, and it tangles like crazy.
See, that's another reason why you should have a keratin treatment, because the cuticle of your hair is so fragile. That's the reason why it gets tangled so easily. And so if you replace it with protein, which is, again, what keratin is, that'll eliminate or minimize your tangles tremendously.
Good, because I'm like ripping a brush through it with I dump a whole half bottle of cheap conditioner on my head just to get a brush through it, because it's about it's down past my bra line, and it's a really pretty color. It just really tangles a lot, so that will help.
How many treatments would she need? Does it just depend on each person individually, or?
Yes, it does, because most of our heads of hair don't tangle. But let me give you a word of advice, too. Use your shampoos and conditioners that are sulfate-free. That will also help, because there are no harsh detergents in those products, and so it makes it easier to comb out your hair after you get out of the shower.
Oh, that sounds so good. Yeah, because it's a battle. It's a battle with my hair, every couple days. Christy, do you have any questions? We've got to go for a commercial break. Do you have any questions before we go?
I just want to know real quick, is it, should you use a really good shampoo or a really good conditioner, or does it really matter, what you use?
It actually really does matter. I'm in the process of creating my own personal line, and part of my line has emu oil in it, and emu oil is a form of omega, and that helps promote hair growth and helps shine and all that. So yes, I disagree with the people out there that say shampoos and conditioners they are all the same. They're not all the same. You have to use a good shampoo and a good conditioner. But if I had to pick which one, I would say please use a good conditioner, because conditioning your hair is no different than conditioning your body by giving it water.
Mom, here's your show, Motherhood Talk Radio, giving you interesting, inspiring, and influential information as you navigate everything from childcare to corporate formation. This is Motherhood Talk Radio, and we'll be right back after these.
Do holidays and celebrations get you down and leave you feeling frazzled? Then join Sandy Fowler and her guests on Heart-Filled Holidays every Monday at noon, 11 a.m. Central on TogiNet.com. Sandy will help you discover the secrets to having the celebrations you've always dreamed of while adding fun and meaning to your life. From Valentine's Day to Christmas to special family events, Sandy Fowler will show you how to put the fun and meaning back into those special days by taking a look at what we can do to turn the upcoming holidays into cherished memories and show us how to allow it to intertwine with everyday life. For more on the show, Sandy, and to receive Sandy's Holiday Happiness booklet, go to heartfilledholidays.com. Then get set to discover the secrets to creating happy holidays and happy everydays by joining Sandy Fowler and her guests on Heart-Filled Holidays every Monday at noon Eastern Standard Time on TogiNet.com.
Get ready for The Athlete Within You with Mike Margolis on TogiNet, Monday nights at 9, 8 Central, 6 Pacific. Do you know about the game within the game? You've heard about sports psychology, Mental toughness, mental training, and preparation. Well, athletes from all over the country have been seeking out Mike Margolis for close to 35 years for his expertise in helping them live up to their potential. He's worked with athletes from professional football to elite-level figure skating and every sport in between. They've all sought his counsel and unique teaching style to learn about the game within the game, or what sports psychology and mental training can do to help them become the athlete they want to be. Mike works one-on-one with athletes. He trains them, puts on seminars, and conducts workshops for coaches, athletes, and businesses. For more on Mike, his book, and the show, check out his website, theathletewithinyou.com. Then, come join us as we discover the athlete within you with Mike Margolis. Monday nights at 9, 8 Central, 6 Pacific on TogiNet.com. Welcome back to Motherhood Talk Radio, the most powerful voice in women's issues. For more information, check out the website, motherhoodtalkradio.com. Now, let's get back to the show with your hosts, Sandra Beck and Christy Holly.
Hey, mamas, this is Sandra Beck, and I'm here with Christy Holly. Wasn't that hair segment fun?
It was fun. I have so many more questions.
I know. I think we need to bring Suzette back.
Yes, I do, too.
Yes, because, you know, part of being a radio show means getting free advice.
I love it.
I love it. Well, you know what? And for those of you that are in the Dallas area and you would like to check out Suzette, I was like so mad when I found out she was in Dallas after. I'm like, oh, would have gone in and seen her when I was in Dallas. But she is at Plano, the hair design group. And if you want to reach her, her phone number is 972-208-HAIR, H-A-I-R. So 972-208-HAIR. Suzette Audia at Plano, the hair design group. I feel like my hair is going to get better just based on this show.
Well, mine will get better once I eat some fish oil.
Yes, we're going to get. I put that on my list tonight to get. I'm like going to look for keratin treatment or Brazilian treatment. My omega-3 fish oil, 400 milligrams a day, and I'm going to look for sulfate-free.
400 or 4,000?
4,000.
4,000.
Sorry.
Just fact checker.
Yep. And emo oil. I've actually been reading about that. I've seen that in a couple different product lines. So I'm really excited to I don't know how they get it out of the emo at this point. I really don't care.
I know.
Well, emu. Sorry, I'm so excited for my emo CD from my friend that I got all excited.
Oh.
All right, so we're going to change gears for a little bit, and we're going to go from the external beauty of our hair to internal beauty, and we are going to welcome Dr. Rosalene Glickman. She's come all the way from Australia to Beverly Hills or Century City. I'm not sure. I think Century City, my old stomping grounds. She is the best-selling author of Optimal Thinking. Rosalene, we're so glad to have you here today.
I'm delighted to be here. Thanks for having me, Sandra.
Oh, you're so, I'm so proud of what you've done, especially because, it's been one of my things ever since I was married and then divorced that it matters so much how you show up in the world, and how we show up in the world directly relates to how we think.
Yeah, and how we show up for ourselves.
Absolutely. Why don't you tell us a little bit more about what that means to show up for ourselves?
Well, I guess we have the chance in our lives to be our best in every given moment. If we can do that, then we can create a series of best moments and then a best life. So the question is, how do we do that? And we do that with optimal thinking. Now, optimal thinking is something that everyone does, but we do it haphazardly. We all have said, what's the best solution, or what's my highest priority, or what's the best use of my time right now. But we do it haphazardly and sporadically. So what my book and what my work is all about, and what my life is all about, is using this peak form of thinking consistently, proactively, starting the day. I start the day with 5 optimal questions, and reactively, when when your judge shows up, or your critic shows up, or your victim shows up, the gap between that reaction and that response is our chance to make an optimal choice. And that's what optimal thinking's about.
Let me stop you for a second, Dr. Glickman. You said to wake up each day with 5 optimal questions. Can you give an example of what that might be for something like me or Christy? We're both, I'm a single mom with 2 little kids under the age of 7. Christy has 3 kids under the age of 7. When we wake up in the morning, what would be something you would tell us and a lot of our listeners out there? How should we start our day?
Okay, so you can just start with questions like, what's supremely important to me right now, today? What are my most important goals? Which actions will be best for my family, for my kids, and for myself? Which actions will be most beneficial for my self-confidence and self-respect? How can I be the best possible mum that I can be today? You can say, what will make today most enjoyable? And what's the best action I can take to achieve what's most important? There's some of them. So I start my day with 5 optimal questions, like my day starts with what's supremely important to me, what are my most important goals today, which actions will be most beneficial for my self-confidence and self-respect, how can I make each task today most enjoyable, and what's the best use of my time right now?
So is this when they talk about being mindful, like getting up and most of the time, and I think, Christy, you agree with me, we're just lucky to get out of bed, get the kids dressed, get them to school, do the things on time. Yeah. But you're asking us just to take a pause, and not really a big pause, just a minute to ask ourselves some poignant questions so that we can make the decision to kind of live in the moment or live mindfully. Because then what are we supposed to do with those questions?
Well, when you ask the best questions, you invite the best answers. If you're just living on autopilot and just getting up and just running, then what you're doing is you're not really focusing on making the best of the given moment. You're just doing. You're just being and doing. So what I'm suggesting is that we recognize that all we have is the ever-present moment. That's all we've ever had, that's all we have now, and that's all we will ever have. So optimal thinking is about making the most of the present moment. Now, as a mum, the best thing you can do for your children is just to let them know that doing their best is all you ever want from them. They don't need to be better than anyone else. They don't need to be rich or poor, thin or fat, tall or short. All you want to know is that, have you done your best? And if you can teach your kids to just be self-starters in the given moment and ask themselves, well, what would my best self do in this situation? What would my best self say in this situation? If you can teach your kids to do that, if you can impart that to your kids, you've given them everything.
Wow. And Christy, I think of we do so much for our kids every day for all of their needs, and to stop for a minute and just tell them that, did you do your best on this, honey? Your best is good enough. Your best is great. Is that
your
what you would say?
best is always good enough. And if you didn't do your best, sweetie, why don't you just go and give it your best shot and bring it back to me if it's homework? Honey, did you give it your best shot? No, Mum, I didn't. Honey, why don't you take some time to give it your best shot, bring it back, and we'll take a look at it then.
So we're really trying to teach our kids and ourselves that, because it's true, it's like, and it's like the duh moment of going, wow, you know what, all we can do is our best. You know what I mean? We can't even with, our hair. It's like we can't come up to, some ideal of some television person, that's had professional stylists. We can only do our best. And as parents, I think, and especially as moms, we can only do our best. And I know, Christy, you and I have talked about this. Like, we knock each other or knock ourselves about not thinking we're doing enough as a mom, not doing it good enough, when in reality, all we can really do is our best.
Yeah.
You got it.
A lot of times I don't even do my best. I get through things but it's not my best, and I know that.
Right, so the way you can get back to being your best is to ask best questions like, what would my best self say in this situation? Or what would my best self do here? Instead of, say, a fear-based response or a response on automatic pilot, just stop for a second and say, what would my best self sound like if I were going to speak to this person or to my kids? How would my best self deal with this situation? And to your kids, just say, well, what would your best self do in this situation? And just teach them to lead their lives from their best self.
I'm taking notes. I'm just sitting here going, like, I can't wait to say to, like, you know, my son, like, you know, like when he does his karate or he does his homework, like, did you do your best? Like, did you do your best? And if, you know, what would your best self do? Like, the best version of you, what would that person do in this situation? Because you're right, you're really training us to think about, like you call it optimal thinking, or, you know, it goes way beyond, like, all the stuff I learned about the power of positive thinking. This is really about training ourselves to exist in our best optimal state.
Absolutely, continuously. And, you know, we can all do it. It takes time and practice. It's not, we can do it. We can instantly go from bad to best, from good to best, and from great to best by just asking a best question. What's my highest, or what's your highest priority, and what would be the best way to do it? Or what's the best thing you can do right now? Those kind of questions put us back on our best track. Or what would my best self do? These are simple. Or, the easiest one is the philosophy behind optimal thinking is, I do my best regardless of the circumstances.
Wow.
And if we teach our kids that, then they won't need, when they're out in the business world, they won't fall apart if the manager doesn't smile at them, or if they're in a relationship and someone doesn't give them the feedback that they would like. They still know, I did my best. Then I can put it to rest. You can't do better than your best. Then you just give it up to the cosmic accountant and move on to the next supremely important issue.
Dr. Glickman, that is such great advice for anybody listening today, and for myself and for Christy and, you know, the parents, the moms that are listening to the radio show today. To be able to end your day and go, I did the best I could. I deserve to have a good night's sleep so I can get up and do it the next day all over again, I think is really powerful advice that I'm going to follow myself, and I know Christy will too. My name is Sandra Beck. I'm the host of Motherhood Talk Radio along with Christy Holly, and we are welcoming Ph.D. and best-selling author of Optimal Thinking, Dr. Rosalene Glickman. When we come back from the break, we're going to talk about some other different great ways that we can change the way we think so that we can increase the level of happiness and satisfaction in our lives.
Mom, here's your show, Motherhood Talk Radio, giving you interesting, inspiring, and influential information as you navigate everything from childcare to corporate formation. This is Motherhood Talk Radio, and we'll be right back after these. Christian work-at-home moms, here is your own show on TogiNet. It's CWAM, Christian Work-at-Home Moms, with Jill Hart and Diana Innan, Thursdays at 10 a.m. Central on TogiNet.
I'd love to share with you just a little bit about how CWAM can help you, whether you are new to the work-at-home world and just starting out your search, or whether you've been working at home for a while and are looking to grow your business.
Jill Hart is the founder of Christian Work-at-Home Moms, CWAM.com, and co-author of So You Want to Be a Work-at-Home Mom. Jill has worked from home from 2000 and started her home-based business to assist other Christians who desire to work from home while maintaining a godly life. And Diana Innan with virtualwordpublishing.com.
I really, truly want to see you succeed, want to share the joy that I have in being home with my kids and being able to build my own business.
And she's ready to help you now. Christian Work-at-Home Moms with Jill Hart and Diana Enna. Thursdays at 10 a.m. Central on TogiNet.
Mind Matters is the show that dares to ask what's on your mind. Take this opportunity to join Dr. Larry Ross, clinical psychologist, and Joan Duhane, licensed clinical social worker, as they combined have over 50 years of experience in dealing with your mind. Fridays at 1 p.m. Eastern Time, only on TogiNet Radio.
Welcome back to Motherhood Talk Radio, the most powerful voice in women's issues. For more information, check out the website, motherhoodtalkradio.com. Now, let's get back to the show with your hosts, Sandra Beck and Christy Holly.
Hey, mamas, this is Sandra Beck, and I'm here with Christy Holly. Christy, this is turning out to be such an interesting show.
It really is, and it's very enlightening.
Well, and, one of the things, I think about, when I get up in the morning, the only thing I ever did ask myself that, I learned from Lisa Kamen, who has been on our show a few times, and she talks a lot about happiness, is how am I going to show up today? Who am I going to be today? Am I going to be, weepy? Am I going to be strong? Am I going to be vibrant? Am I going to be beaten down? I do try to think about, how am I going to show up today? But, to ask myself these questions, these 5 optimal questions, what's important to me? What am I going to get done today? What's going to build my self-confidence or my self-respect? Or what Dr. Glickman talked about, what's going to build self-confidence and self-respect in my kids? I mean, that's when she really, she's throwing a lot of bait in there, and I'm like, yum, 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 yum. But then when you're saying, doing your best, did you do your best? When they bring their homework back and they just shot Crayolas all over the paper. And then to say, though, that your best was good enough. Yeah. That's really powerful.
Well, and then you have to accept that if they say that is their best, that you have to accept that that's their best.
Yeah. Because, the thing is it really ours to judge? We know sometimes that our kids can do better, but it's and I think of myself as an adult, in the work that I have to do on a daily basis. Some days I'm really good at what I do. Some days not so much. It's I might be tired, I might be frustrated, I might be thinking of something else, but at the moment, I gave it my best.
Right.
So when you think about, what is the best has got to be on your own meter and our own kids' meter, because if they believe that they did their best, they probably did.
That's true.
Because who is it for me to say that you could have done better? Well. Yeah. So, Dr. Glickman, when women are at home all day long, and, Christy and I talk about this. I work from home running a company. Christy raises 3 kids, and a lot of times her husband's a Los Angeles City firefighter, so he's gone for, days at a time, and she's managing and running the kids, and we all have overloaded schedules. We've got kids to get every which way. What are some ways that we could use our own thoughts to help us be more powerful in our day?
Well, with optimal thinking, we're not talking about being more powerful. We're talking about being our most powerful, our best. We're talking about superlative realism. We're talking about what's the best thing I can do under the circumstances right now. So if you just took away from this show today one sentence of just having your kids ask themselves and you ask yourself all day, what's the best thing I can do right now, right? Or how can I be my best right now? Or what would my best self do right now? Just really getting into what is my best self? What does my best self look like? What would my best self sound like? And really starting to connect and to understand what that best self is, rather than just going on automatic. Defining the best self. I think that's the first thing that I, as a parent, would say. Ask your kids, tell me, what would your best self sound like now? your best self do in this situation? Start to ask them those kind of questions and then validate them. I really like that. I want your best self to show up more. And tell them that it doesn't really matter what happens on the outside. As long as you do your best, you're going to make a life of best moments and a best life. If you really reinforce that and talk to them like that and teach them to flex that muscle by asking them, was this the best you can do? What's the best thing you can do right now? And just really reinforcing that, that's, I think, the best you can do. It's simple.
It is. Well, I think it's simple for us to do for our kids, but when you were saying, like, what does your best self look like? I mean, Christy, I think sometimes we get so disconnected as parents. It's like we do. I mean, how do you even begin to define what your best self is?
Well, you know, sometimes we have an audio download. You can download it from optimalthinking.com. I think, I'm not sure. You can go there and just look up Visualize Your Best Self under the downloads. And it's a sort of a visualization where you just relax and visualize your best self. But you can meditate on it. You can sit back and ask yourself, what would my best self be like? When have I been at my best? What did my best self look like? How have I behaved when I've really given life my all? And just start to get a picture of what that best self is. You know, if you know what your fearful self behaves like, you know what your judge is like, well, what is your best self? You know, I think that's really something that we all need to take some time to explore. And if you help your kids explore it by just saying, you know what you're like when you're afraid. What do you like when you're at your best? Tell me when your best self is is behaving, and start to get them in touch with what their best self behaves like. Is their best self a happy kid? Is their best self a miserable kid? And you know, when they're miserable, just you know, the paradigm for optimal thinking is accept, understand, optimize. Okay, we accept you're not feeling happy now. Why are you not happy? What are you thinking or doing to create this? And then ask, what's the best thing you can do? What would your best self do? I mean, I'm just keeping it really simple. Optimal thinking is a process. Initially, you start off, you're an unconscious incompetent. You've never heard of optimal thinking. You don't know about it. You're unconscious of your incompetence. It's like driving a car. When you look at all the pedals and everything, you don't know what you don't know. And then once you sit next to your driving instructor and you see all the things you don't know, you become conscious of your incompetence. And right now, you're probably listening and saying, gee, I don't use optimal thinking as often as I really would like to. I'd like to be using it all the time. But none of us use it all the time because we react and we get off track. But the name of the game is to get back on our best track with minimum time loss. So as we practice consciously using this peak form of thinking, then we become conscious of our increasing competence, just as we were if we were driving. And then ultimately, you just do it automatically. I mean,
I would think we would make better choices, wouldn't we?
You make best choices, not just better choices, best choices, because optimal thinking is that gap between good and better. It takes you above good, it takes you above better, it takes you to best. Because when you ask good questions, you invite good answers. When you ask better questions, you invite better options. When you ask the best questions, you invite the best options and the best responses. So you're really functioning on that peak track. You're functioning on that peak level of creation. Choice is your creation. When you choose, you create. So that's how you create. You continue to create more and more experiences of your best self leading your life, and then you create a best life. So It's not difficult, but it is, as you started off right from the beginning, you have to be mindful until it becomes unconscious. Once it becomes unconscious and instinctive, you don't even notice that you're doing it. My coaching clients, many of them start off and they're just bewildered. They think, how am I ever going to be able to do this all the time? But after a while, they don't even notice that they're doing it.
Well, and I think of, like, you know, what you're talking about with relation to Christy and I with this Fit to Strip challenge, because, you know, when you think, like, you know, some of the things like Dr. Glickman said, like, what would my best self do right now? Well, my best self would not go to the gym. My best self would not, you know, eat a cheeseburger when I have plenty of good food in my fridge, and, you know, that'll get me to getting towards my best self, just the physical aspect. But I think if we ask ourselves, like, what would my best self do in this moment, it would help us with our Fit to Strip challenge. It will help us, you know, with our emotional issues that we go through, because basically we're challenging ourselves to show up and be the best we can be.
Well, you're making yourself accountable, too, I think, to yourself.
Right. There's another question you can ask yourself, and that is this in my best interest?
Ah.
That's a simple one, too. Now, if you don't give yourself, if you don't give yourself, if you say, is this in my best interest, or what's in my best interest right now, and your answer might be to do some paperwork, that might be in your best interest, or to run your kids to school right now, and you don't do it, then that's self-sabotage, right? When you answer that question and you don't do it. So let's say, for example, you can choose to snooze knowing it's in your best interest. If you say to yourself, what's in my best interest right now, and your answer is take a nap, then that's optimal. But if your question is, your answer is go and feed the kids and you go and take a nap, then that's self-sabotage.
That makes sense, because I know we've all done that. But I love the idea of challenging ourselves to do our best through an answer of 5 optimal questions that we ask ourselves when we get up, and then also maybe throughout the day. But I think, Dr. Glickman, the biggest gift that you've given, I don't know, me and Christy and the listeners today, and we're just about to wrap up our show, that to teach our kids that you're doing your best is always good enough.
Absolutely.
You know,
always good enough. And if you can live a life of just doing your best, you are the best kid I could ever have.
Oh. Yeah, I'm going to use that. I'm going to use that on both of my kids. I think it's a beautiful thing. I want to thank you for being our guest today on Motherhood Talk Radio. We have welcomed Dr. Rosalene Glickman. For those of you that want to read her book, the book is called Optimal Thinking. She is an outstanding academician. I can't even say the word, but you're just really great. And I really appreciate you coming on the show today and teaching us some best practices. You can check her website out at optimalthinking.com. Her book is available on Amazon and Barnes & Nobles. There's also electronic downloads available. So check it out. We will be back next week with some additional guests. We will check in with Rick and Christy and myself on our Fit to Strip challenge. We haven't been... I know. And
asking some questions.
I want to challenge all of our listeners out there today to do your best, because your best is good enough.
Thank you for being a part of Motherhood Talk Radio with Sarah Beck and Christy Holly on TogiNet.com. Join us every